Hello. Welcome to the OAS number 7. Now, we're being quiet. Oh God, there's got so much to talk about, it's ridiculous. Swipe the camera gently. Right, we're trying to be quiet. I'm super excited. And he's going, I want to film you starting up. So basically, we'll start from the very beginning.
Oh, this should be fun.
No.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall.
We are down in the New Forest near Ringwood, right on his doorstep.
Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love.
Another 4-hour drive for me. Well, nothing changes, you know. I know that.
Nothing changed.
I know the important guy is.
All the driving.
You will do from now on. I'm going to make sure everyone is in the north.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why
That was it.
we lose.
So welcome to the OAS number 7, and we are at Orchard Lakes. And more specifically, we are on Jimmy's Lake, which is a new lake that's opened, and it's full. Well, I say full. It's got a very good stocking of Simmo's finest fish, which have been fed and fed and fed, and we've had an invitation to come down and see how we get on. We kind of don't know the sizes because they were put in and they've been fed, and it was rarely fished before it opened. And in typical new water fashion, when it opened, it suddenly didn't fish as well as people thought it was going to fish. You know, like basically they weren't used to pressure at all. So I think people have bombed on, the fish have absolutely crapped themselves and gone to ground. So we're trying to be quiet because we've just turned up and there's anglers dotted around which are going later today, but we've seen some fish in the deeper end sheeting up just in line with that brick monk out there. Obviously I want to get my rods out straight away and he's going, no, want to film you, want to film everything. So this is the state of play. The fish go from probably mid-doubles moz all the way over to over 30 pound. They're mega looking carp, as Simmo's carp are these days. So they've been fed on pallet for the majority of their lives since they've been in here. So we've bought lots of boilie and we bought lots of pallet. Hopefully enough that we don't run out like we did at Trent View. Now I've been given a free rein on what I bring this time. So I've bought 2 different baits, which is something I don't normally do. In fact, I've never done it. So I've bought the 2 baits that I absolutely love from the DNA range, and that's the S7 and the SLK. I bought some SLK pallets, and all I've done a couple of days ago, I've jazzed them all up with liquid food. Same with the boilies, jazzed them all up with liquid food. So there's loads of attraction in there. Particles and nuts and things are banned. So that's the route we're going down. We're kind of thinking that they're going to be pallet reared fish. They're going to be hungry. The pressure's going to drift away today, so technically we'll have a free rein of most of the lake, so we can bob around and basically find them and fish on some fizzers like I want to do now, if he'd let me get my rods out of the bag. So we're going to get a couple of rods out in double quick time, probably catch nothing, because normally in these situations, when it looks like it's taking candy from a baby, you don't catch a bloody thing, and then you have to work for them like we normally do. So, but the conditions they aren't great for fishing, I'll be honest. It's probably 15 degrees now and it's 10 o'clock in the morning. And the problem with this time of year, we're on the end of October time, early November. And you get these warm days, but you get the very cold nights, so it's inconsistent. So whilst it might feel great, we're in t-shirts at the minute, the carp don't like it. They don't like the fact that it could be 16 degrees in the day and it drops to 2 at night. It's a 14 degree deficit really in the temperatures, and they don't like that. They like it either consistently warm or consistently cold. So the pressure's through the roof. There's no rain forecast. There's some northeasterly winds due to pick up quite strong a bit later and into tomorrow. So it's on paper, it's going to be a piece of cake, but already the angles that fished it, it's turned out not to be a piece of cake. And I think what needs to happen on lakes like this is they almost need to be conditioned by the anglers to get used to, right, well, we'll follow the wind because the wind moves the food, or we'll move away from the angling pressure. But there's lots of there's islands, there's little bays, so there's lots of little places the fish can hide. So we're going to get a couple of rods out quickly whilst he films scenic stuff and see if we can get a pretty quick bite. And then already we've noticed fish on several areas of the lake, so I think what we'll end up doing is just dotting around, because we can drive around. There's a track around the lake. Just chuck the rods on the roof. If you see some fish move, have a go for them. I think it'd be cushy. Settle somewhere for the night, get a bit of bait in, and already it's screaming margins, really, because obviously I guess what's happened over the course of the couple of years that they've been in and been fed, the lads turn up with a truck full of pallets or boilies, whatever, and they're at that with a scoop. Shane up at the lodge has already said that's what they do. So it seems pointless fishing out towards the islands when they've been reared and fed within 15 yards of the bank. So that is going to be the plan of attack. And the fizzes that we're seeing at the moment are probably at the maximum scoop sort of distance, if you like. So I'm going to stop waffling. I'm going to let him film some other stuff while I get my rods out the van and probably mess a good chance of catching a carp up. I'd love to say that I am super prepared, but because I want to get it out in a rush, obviously I was in France for 2 weeks, and 2 of the rods that I reeled in on the last one in France, I didn't have a bite on, and this is one of them, and the hook is still razor sharp, so I'm just putting a little bait on because I want to get it out there. It's like sharpish. That's a S7 Court Wall pop-up on a QC rig, and that is actually a small bag of the Nutter S pallets that were used at White Springs, and because that's what I've got tied up in the bucket, that's what's going out. Little bag, little bait, and on the other rod I'm going to put one of the new large white Milky Malt lafters just to edge me back. So I've got a matching or a dull, and then I've got a bright, just see what that brings. But my heart is racing, so I want you to move out the way so I can cast out. Right, so old Doris here is going, there's fish here. I've seen this on Simmo's fish farms before, tiny little pin pit bubbles. I haven't even had a liner. Oh no, sorry, we had a little liner, didn't we, on the right and not two. So I said, I'm going for a little walk. Gone up the top end, it's chocolate. There's fish right on the edge, they're vortexing. So the joys of having your van right behind your swim, you just lob the rods on the roof and drive slowly, before they fall off, around there, drop them in the edge. So that's what we're going to do. It hasn't got potential for disaster where my lovely rods and reels come flying off the roof and he's going, drive faster, drive faster. But we've found a few, so we're going to endeavour to try and get a bite. And obviously I want to rush, and he's going, can't do anything yet, got to film you, got to get the drone up. Elton John moment again, isn't it? Rocket Man. Right, reel in, off. Simple as that. That's a random question, what I'm thinking in my head, wasn't it?
It is, yes.
There's a million and one things. Linda Lusardi, Sam Fox.
None of which I've ever heard of.
They're old MILF.
Oh.
Not Sonia from EastEnders.
Nope.
Anyway, well, frustrated isn't the word. What time are we on? 10 to 4, and we've been here, as in round this side, a couple of hours, Moss. And we have had fish smoking up like you wouldn't believe. Had a few liners, and no bites, which is very, like, 10 yards out. So you just chuck a little bag on them, nothing. So they either literally do not know what the script is, or we are absolutely rubbish. It's probably a combination of the both, I think. But a couple of the angles have pulled off, and we've been speaking to them, and they've fished kind of bits, really, going on the natural bits of maggot on top of boilie, and then one was fishing a worm in the edge, and you kind of think, oh God, I can't be bothered with that. It's messy, isn't it? And I've got no worms, and I've got no maggots. And even if I did have them, I wouldn't bloody use them because they stink and they're messy. So I'm going to do what I said I was going to do onto myself on the way here, and I am going to fill it in because, not just because, but that's what we always do, because we don't, is it? But because them boys haven't filled it in, we're just going to go in the Skates to Grade and try that. I'm not going to stove like, it's not going to be like a Trent View kind of assault, although I do have the hand of God and it could lead to absolute carnage in the whole 15 kilos of bait going in. But there's fish still on me, that's the bottom line. But there's like a mound of bricks, and there's some lilies that are marking the top. They've put that in the lake to obviously anchor the lilies too, so the lilies will grow there. So I can walk round to the bank where before the next swim around the corner, and I can just bait in a line from the margin out to the kind of the rocky little plateau, as we'll call it, because they have been showing like mad there. So I'm going to bait in a line. I'm just going to give them some boilie, perhaps 3 to 5 kilo and a few kilos of the SLK pellets, just to see really. At the end of the day, if they don't eat it, well, it will get eaten eventually, obviously. But if we don't get any bites, we can still just chuck the rods on the roof and move. But you would think, if any of you people watching this would think today, like it was nailed on to get a bite, they were smoking up, there was just clouds where they're ripping the bottom up, no bites. So I'll be buggered if I'm just going to sit here all night fishing little mesh bags of the crayfish pellets or the SLK pellets. I ain't going to do that, because you kind of almost want to try something different.
What have you done?
Oh, bro.
Oh, come on, how many centuries and years have you had that?
Oh man, that divness. I broke my hand of God, and it wasn't. I was just putting it in the pallet. Oh, div! What a div! I have to do it all with a catapult now.
Oh, this should be fun.
No.
Yeah.
Have you got an hand of God?
No,
You have.
I haven't.
Well, we've gone from burning my ears and my arms to being wrapped up in hoodies now the sun's gone. And I've just said to Doris, I said, we'll be grateful of these new thicker hoodies for the next 6 months. We were kind of moaning throughout the summer because we couldn't wear them because they were too bloody thick. So we're wrapped up now. And what have we done? When you think you've just made a mistake, but then probably if I get a couple of bites, I'll say, oh, it was all right. So I've put in, and I probably went a bit over the top in the end. I've got the bloody hand of God in my hands, and I couldn't stop myself because I was enjoying the sound of loads of 15, 18 mil boilies going in. So I've probably put in 6 kilos, something like that, of 18s and 15s, SLK and S7. A few days ago, I had dosed them all up with the SLK liquid food. I've been using the S7 liquid food primarily. I've changed because I just want to try something else. And I did think when I was putting the SLK food in, I thought it's a bit thicker than the S7, and I wonder if it'll take it on as much. And I wasn't shy with it. I must have put, there was 10 kilos of boils in the bucket, and I must have put half a bottle of liquid food in. Despite it saying so much per kilo, and I've just found that you can't overload it. And I thought I've probably overdone it and they'd still be all glazed up and gloopy, but the whole lot has soaked in to the boilies. And I did the same. I put 5 kilos of SLK pellets in a bucket, and then I put the other half a bottle of liquid food over them, and all of that's gone. So the point I'm trying to make is there's probably 6 kilos of boilies, 6 to 7 kilos of boilies out there, oozing off loads of attraction, and the same with the pellets. There's a feast of loveliness out there for them. And Moz has put a rod out tonight, and he doesn't normally do that, he doesn't ever do this, and one's just showed behind Doris's head. So rig wise, I've gone for the bright thing, the visual if you like. So I've got the right hand rod is on a QC with a yellow PB pop-up, and the left is on one of the new large dumbbell wafters. That's a white, a milky malt. Again, it's kind of cherry on the cake kind of scenario if you like. They may see a bright one a bit quicker, and we'll see what happens. But just a couple of bites, you know, we've done something from the norm. Hopefully it'll pay off, and we will keep you posted with the results. And until then, no night. We are having an absolute nightmare on a lake that we thought would be an absolute doddle. This is the first bite in 24 hours, and they are proper just confusing the hell out of us. We are trying everything. Ah! Oh no. God, don't do that. The thing is, there's a very good chance this has never been up, so he's going absolutely ballistic, and he don't feel like a bad fish. And then I've pulled them all off that heavily baited area and dropped them 10 yards out, and one has absolutely tore off. Just, you know, we're all out of ideas if I'm being honest. And then out of the blue, it's absolutely flew off. Oh, get in that net, yes! Oh. We've proper worked for that, to the point where we're just banging our heads against each other thinking, well, what is up with these carp? You know, yes, a lot of them have never been caught before. But you know, you begin to think, are we as rubbish as everybody says we are on Facebook? But we caught one. That's on a QC with a little yellow PB pop-up, just a little bag of pellets, ramped off. Fought like mad as well. So obviously putting loads of bait out is the way. Not. Caught one on a little bag of pellets 10 yards out. This has got disaster or falling in written all over it. I can catch carp.
Yep, you carry on, mate.
Last time you were handled was probably by Morris.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a 20 pounder. 22.4.
Nice.
That'll do.
That will do.
I'm like the commercial terrier. The words commercial and terrier should never ever be said together. Oh, look at him. Oh, I've forgotten where we are. There is one of Doris's boss's finest scaly Simmos, and at £22 4 ounce has restored my faith in carp fishing humanity, because we have been pulling our hair out like you wouldn't believe. I would hazard a guess this fish has never ever been caught before, and it would seem that fishing for fish even on a lake that's only just opened isn't as easy as we possibly thought it might be. But we've got a bite despite being absolutely distraught with everything we're trying, and it wasn't over the bait, it wasn't over the SLK and the S7 that I put in. It was on a little bag of the crayfish mini mix and a little PB, no it wasn't, it was on a PB pop-up on a QC rig. 10 yards out, nowhere near the baited area. We'd seen a couple of fish and I didn't even get a line, it just absolutely ramped off. But yeah, it's kind of, we were just scratching our heads thinking, well, why are they this moody? Why are they seemingly very, very shy about picking a rig up? We were thinking, are we being done? You know, are they just not used to like proper bait yet because they've been pallet reared? But then it restores your faith when one rips off, and it's a cracker like that. So more than welcome. But I don't think there'll be any fish 10 yards out after the way he scrapped, because he's turfed right through the swim. So we may be back to the drawing board for a few hours. But a great a great fish to open my Jimmy's Lake account here at Orchard. Absolutely, simply lovely. My life is so exciting, and because I'm northern, you know, you've got that fill line in the porridge tub, like you fill to here. I always fill it a couple of mil more just because it makes me feel like I've got a bit more out of it.
Oh, for God's sake.
And then, you know, when the porridge tastes like it's too watered down, you think that line's there for a reason.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Well, I'm not going to do that, am I, you div? Because that just looks so unnatural. Does my bum look big in this bucket?
What's that noise?
It's a tractor. I think so. Yeah, don't get them in Stoke. I don't actually want to eat the porridge because I haven't long had soup. And he makes me, he just goes, oh, it's porridge time. Which,
I don't make you do anything.
you do. Well, it's just porridge time. That basically means it's now time to make yourself look a
Yeah.
You know, that's hot. Oh, it's got in my hand.
Oh, dear.
I need to work with somebody else.
That's it, have another bit. What are you
I like
thinking now?
I'll tell you one thing I'm thinking. There's some weird footprints around this lake, aren't there?
Yeah.
Like big lion prints and stuff. What are they?
I don't know.
Deer? So yeah, I've been to France. Didn't want to come home. Come home. I was spending a lot of time on my own in the bivvy in France.
Yeah?
Yeah, I liked it. Becoming more miserable and more reclusive as I get older.
Yeah.
Now, come home. She's like that. Hi, have you had a good 2 weeks? Well, of course I have. I've been there without you there.
Oh, that's a bit hard.
No, it is harsh, because, yeah. She thinks I'm a div as well.
Yeah?
Yeah, she does.
Oh.
But I've come home, she hasn't cut the grass. I specifically said, look, can you just cut the grass?
It might have been too damp to cut the grass.
Absolute rubbish.
What? You can't cut wet grass?
I had to bloody cut it when I cut home. 2.5 hours it cut me, and I haven't got much grass. Grass doesn't, nothing grows in Stoke. But I've got a little patch at the back.
I beg to differ. I bet things do grow in Stoke.
I've got a little bit at the back and I've got a bit more at the front. But because it was long, it'd be left for 2 weeks. Because if you cut it every week, you know, it stays manageable. If you keep on top of it, it's always well groomed and it always looks nice. Bit like your lawn. If you leave it for a while, good God, goes all horrible, doesn't it? And like matted.
Yeah.
Bit like your lawn.
Yeah, I suppose. Have you got bald patches on your lawn?
Listen, let me tell you, Morris, I always keep a tidy garden. Well, I had much trolling, really. No, I had none, actually.
Not a love flying around late.
Well, it's not winter yet, is it?
Late.
End of October.
Yeah.
It's coming into div time, isn't it? Well, I was going to talk about something else as well.
I caught one.
That was it. So we're here at Jimmy's Lake at Orchard. And Div's put a rod out, hasn't he? Because we thought it was just going to be a turkey shoot, which it isn't. And he's caught one. See, big fish angler, me,
Oh, we're going down that route, are we?
22 pounder.
Right.
Div, 12 pound.
That wasn't 12.
Was.
You thought it was 17 at one point.
Yeah, but because then you held it up, I said it was 12. We didn't weigh it, so you haven't got an argument.
I reckon it was 16 pound 8 ounces.
Not a prayer, man.
Well,
No.
I'll let the public decide. I reckon it's 16
Oh God,
pound.
no doubt you'll get another 200 followers. Can we talk about what's coming up?
Well, I suppose, why not? Let people know
Uh,
that this is the end of the line for you.
I've only been at DNA 12 months. I've sold me soul and then they've sacked me. Oh
It's
God.
all over for you.
So this one is the last OAS for a short while. You see, can't leave you. Can't leave.
No.
Can't leave them. So, in fairness, me and Doris, we were planning everything out throughout the winter. We were just going to carry on with it. So what we're going to do is this one that we're shooting now at the end of October will come out at the end of November. So, but I've got to do 2, and I'm going to do 2 winter series with Doris. So the first one is Cuttle Mill. Can we say, well, it's a bit too late now.
Well, yeah.
Uh,
Don't let the others out the bag.
All right,
Let
okay.
that one out.
So I've only got to do 2. I think there's 4. So Paul says to us, he went, really happy what you've done this year, Tong. Like, you know, you're the saviour of DNA. You've saved us from getting out of business.
Yeah.
You know. Steve can now feed his kids. Jace can buy reels where he doesn't have to fold his handles. And you've saved us. I can carry on fishing for barbel and chub and go for the Dreading Cup big time next year.
Yeah.
But you can have January and February off. Spare me, monkey. So yeah, I'm doing a couple of winter series. Can we say I'm doing the other one with?
No, we'll wait until.
All right, okay.
No, save it.
So
We've already let enough out the bag as it is.
it's not like me to put my foot in it. Really.
There's another 20-minute, 24-minute, 25-minute rant. This one.
It's not a rant, but it's not. You don't publish it all, or else we'd both be sacked.
Yeah, I know.
Right, in typical OAS fashion, we've moved double quick time, which is Andy having the vans behind the swim. So basically I just lobbed everything on the roof of mine. She's obviously sleeping in the boudoir that's all carpeted out inside the bigger van, what I've got. But already we've seen a couple show the wind. There you go. There you go. So we've moved, we're kind of refreshed. We've got a different view of the lake, so at least we can see if they've gone through the channel into the other half of the lake, then we can move again. All's good in the world. It's cold, isn't it? Well, good morning. And despite the move, and despite fish being on us, I'm moving again. Just quickly, I've just probably just see past the aerator into the deeper water, which is where the monk is. It's probably 12 foot maximum there, which is where we started a couple of days ago. There's supposed to been a few fish show, so I'm just going to grab a couple of rods and a net, and I'm off. Stand by the rods, he says. I want to snap them. Not because the rods are rubbish, the rods are lovely, but because we're in, and well, we've moved twice since we last checked in, and now that's it. It's 3:15. I've normally been home for 2 hours, even if I've driven from the other side of the hemisphere. But we've stayed on into Mozza time, and we both looked at each other and we went, well, we've got a show, but we just wanted to catch one more each just because we thought we were absolutely rubbish, because we cannot catch these carp. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know why they're doing it, because on paper this should have been the easiest one that we've done, and despite we've had 2 really nice fish here at Jimmy's Lake, we have worked our socks off, haven't we?
Yeah.
We have worked harder than we've worked at any of the OASs, and it just goes to show that you should never count your chickens. From a lake that's not been open for long, these fish, you know, this particular swim, I was in that one for the second night, which is literally 5 yards away. So before we move around there onto some showing fish about 2 hours ago, I put a load of SLK pallet out in front of here. Then I've looked over and it's the ducks have been mudding it up, and then I see 2 fish show in amongst the ducks. So I said, right, let's give it another half hour. So we've skirted round, gone plop, plop, 2 fish have gone right over each rod, not even a beep. And now they're showing back down there where we were. And there's another one just showed over my shoulder. The carp in here are more airborne than they are in the water. And we have tried hard. Mozza was using solid bags, recasting regularly. I have got no mesh bags left, and I'm Mr. Meticulous and Mr. Prepared. I normally got 50, 60 bags. I've used that many bags for chasing fish and dropping rigs where I could see fish. We have been on fish predominantly for the whole of the trip, and we've had 2 bites, and Moz has been done, and one of his hooks was slightly opened out, he said. So we're very, very demoralised. We're not demoralised because we haven't tried hard, and it'll be a brilliant show because he will edit it together to perfection, like he always does. But we just don't know the answer. We have tried and tried and tried. So I guess it's reality. You know, this happens on a daily basis. The only thing it doesn't happen is on lakes that haven't really been fished that much with 400 carp in. So I almost think, like we said, you know, in a bit of a previous chat, that they almost need day ticketing. They need the lake to get full up and just get used to it. But the problem is they get fed every day. They've been fed for a long, long time. So it's almost like they don't know how to eat. We're getting liners that are taking line. He thinks we're getting done. I'm like, well, you know, I'm using size 4 hooks. You know, normally when they take them rigs in them out, I think I've lost 3 fish in 7 OASs on the rigs that I use. I've just come back from France with no losses. So we use the rigs that we're confident in. We can't do any more than we've done. All I can say is thank God for yellow PB pop-ups and wafters, really, or else we would have blanked. Then Simmo really would have given it you. So we've had Simmo on this morning onto him. He hasn't made the guest appearance because I'm glad really, because he would have given it us royally. So he's FaceTimed Mozza this morning, load of swear words which I can't repeat, and then I will repeat the end because I know you could chicken it out. And Mozza's just gone, bye. Simmo's just gone, useless. That was it. Put the phone down. Oh, cheers. Thanks, Simmo. But we'd have liked to have ended this year's series on a bit of a high, because we thought we were going to come here and literally club 20 pounders for fun. So I guess it's kicked us right in the balls. But we've had a good time. So thank you for watching the OAS in 2018. We'll be back early 2019 with more joviality, more divness, and no doubt more chicken noises. So thank you for watching, and we will see you very soon.
What is that you've got on there?
Big bubble float, Lewis just sent some extra large ones.
Why is it sticking up like that? What have you done to it?
It's probably too full of water.
You did.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall.
Come and get us on.
My love, if you feel
Everybody now knows that I can't floss.
right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love.
You work a camera, you could probably do a better job than he can, to be fair. You're probably better company as well. Let's be honest, you're only famous for rainbows.
You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Thank you for watching, and we will see you very soon.